Peoples, what's going on? This is your boy Finesse, and today's video is all about this 2023 Indian Darkhorse Pursuit with the premium package. All right, so like I said, this video is all about this beautiful Indian Pursuit in the stealth gray. But before we get into that, I want to get into the ordering process for ordering bikes through Indian Motorcycle. So a few weeks back, I go down to the Indian dealership, and they actually received a non-premium version of this Indian Pursuit. It was the same color, same exact bike, just without the premium package. When I saw that bike, man, something hit me. And after talking with Miss Finesse, going over some other things financially, I decided to go ahead and order this bike. So I got with Chris. We sat down. We were searching for the bikes. Now, full disclaimer here, right? With supply constraints and everything else that happened during COVID, this process may have gotten a little weird, so to speak. But I'm not talking about those times. I'm talking about now moving forward as things are somewhat getting back into a semi-normal groove. So when he and I sat down for this bike, this color, this trim, he was telling me that it was going to be about 4 to 6 weeks is what they've been seeing when ordering bikes. Now, your dealership and your location, it may vary, for various reasons. But for my situation, he said it was going to be about 4 to 6 weeks. All right. So at that time, I had to pay a deposit of $250. So I paid my $250 deposit. And what that did was it attached my name to this bike. So in the system, once he found the bike, he was like, all right, I'm attach your email address to this bike, or attach your name to the bike, however it goes, in the system, so that no other person at the dealership or any other dealership can touch that allocation. That allocation is mine. So once that happens, when you log into your Indian Motorcycle account, after, well, I think it took like a couple of days for this. Once you log into your account and you go to your orders and then vehicle orders, it's going to say that your order is confirmed. And it's going to, I want to say it's going to have a estimated build date attached to it. Then after that, the panic starts, right? Because you're getting excited. You're ready to see this little thing move on the website. There's little dots. So of course I'm checking back. And I don't need to go to the dealership for this because it's all right here on the website. And I think that's really cool. So anyways, you get a couple of weeks go by, and then it goes from confirmed to an estimated build date. All right. So we're kind of moving along on that process, right? It's still kind of confirmed, but now the estimated build date is attached to it. Wait a couple of weeks. After, when you get to that next step to where it says built, then it gives you a message saying that they are, going over the bike, making sure everything's good, and they're scheduling transportation. So I'm monitoring the website. And then another week or two passes by, Now, I've been saying a couple of weeks. So I don't know exactly where I am right now. All I know is that it went the 4 to 6 weeks. It took about 4 to 6 weeks. Once we get to the built phase, then it says in transit. All right. Now, you're not tracking every piece of the road that the bike is on. Just know that the bike is either it's picked up, it's on a truck, or it's scheduled, picked up, and then it's actually on its way. But being the great salesperson that Chris is, he contacted me and let me know, hey man, your bike is on the way and it's going to be here today. Today being a week ago, the week of Daytona. So, and that was on a Friday. So when I was in my last video saying that we were going to ride down, but I had to make some changes and we ended up towing the bikes, it was because of this bike. I was receiving this bike, and the whole process, it went kind of late in the day. But anyways, moving on. So like I said, that day Chris gives me a call. He's like, hey man, truck's coming in today. I was like, cool. I immediately shot down to the dealership, went and talked to Chris. We talked about the paperwork and did all the financing and all those things, got everything squared away. So after the bike was brought in, all I had to do was sign the paperwork and then I'm on my way. All right. So this, like I said, this experience is probably not going to be your experience depending on your situation. So lucky enough, I was there when the bike arrived. Man, today is the day. It is delivery day, and not a moment too soon. It's the day before we were going to go down to Daytona. Star, man, he'll be asking you for your autograph. Yeah, buddy. There it is. Beautiful. Yes, indeed, man. That's awesome. Bike comes all ready together. The only thing they have to put on is the top console and the windshield, and then of course all the other technical behind the scenes stuff. Oh man. All right, y'all, there goes Onyx right there, black and beautiful. And then here is the new ride, the 23 Indian Pursuit Darkhorse with the premium package. Yes, indeed. Oh. All right, so as you've seen on the video, man, those bikes come in the dealership calls them crates. I mean, they're not exactly a crate. It's more like a metal frame with a bag covering the bike. That's the best way I could explain it, other than saying crate. After you got the bike off, the guy that offloads the truck does an inspection on the crate to make sure there's no damage, make sure that everything was placed properly, you know, all those types of things. After he does that, that individual then disassembles the crate and removes the bag and does another inspection to make sure that nothing happened to the bike in between the manufacturer to the dealership. And as you can see in the video, the bike comes fully assembled outside of the front windshield. There's no rear windshield. Outside of the windshield and this top console cover. So when he's going around looking at the bike as he's unzipping it, which was one of the greatest things I'd ever seen. But anyway, he goes around, unzips it. He's also inspecting for any kind of damages or anything like that. And if he's satisfied with everything, once he gets done, then he's going to take the bike into the garage and let the maintenance personnel do their magic. I'm not exactly sure what they do back there. I wasn't able to get any video of that. But they do go over the bike and make sure all the electronics and everything works. They assemble the windshield and the top. And then after that, they do their function check and test ride. So when I got the bike, it had about 11 miles on it. And that was after they did all of their functions. And right now, I think I'm sitting at around 460-ish miles, 460-ish miles. And so far, I'm really, really pleased with it. But anyway, so after they get their inspection, so now that part of receiving a motorcycle is going to vary. It's going to be different for every situation, right? Because you don't know what the garage is working on. You don't know how many bikes are ahead of yours. So yes, I did get mine same day. It was at the end of the day. But typical, typical process, it may take an entire day. It may take 2 days. It depends on the garage's workload and this, that, and the other. It also depends on the bike, especially if there's any issues with the bike when it comes in. Those guys have to troubleshoot it and do all of that. So in a perfect world, assuming your bike comes in and there's nothing wrong and there's no damages and there's nobody else in the shop but you, it's possible to get the bike in and out of there after a certain amount of time, right? And I know you're watching this and you're like, man, this dude is like stepping all around this. I do that because I don't want you to think that every bike is going to come out, bing, bang, boom. It's done. It's offload. You put the stuff on, then you take it out. That's just not the process. That's not reality. Okay, so now I just want to give you my initial impressions of the bike. First off, this color scheme, the stealth gray and the Darkhorse trim is absolutely beautiful, in my opinion. Absolutely beautiful. I've seen just about all the colors in person in Daytona, but I think this one is probably the most beautiful to me. I like the subtleness of it. It's not too in your face, but it's still, hey, look at me, right? So I think Indian Motorcycle does an amazing, amazing job of blending design, technology, functionality, comfort, and power in one package. And the bike doesn't feel incomplete to me. The bike feels complete. By that, I mean, if you bought this bike stock, you could just run it like that, assuming everything fits your body type. You could just run it like that and have any issues for the life of the bike. There's nothing on here that you have to change in order to have a comfortable ride. However, for me, the handlebars were a bit low, so when I bought the bike, I also got the handlebars, and I've already put those on. There was no video because the process for this, I mean, it's pretty simple. And I used a KST website that disassembled the bike to put the handlebars on, and they did a great job. So I would just encourage you guys, if you're putting on handlebars and you need some help, just do a search for KST Challenger handlebar install, and it'll pop up. Man, it's simple. But yeah, so that's enough of me talking about it. Let's get into this 2023 Indian Pursuit Darkhorse with the premium package. All right, so starting right up front, of course, you got dual disc brakes with the Brembo calipers. That's going to give you more than enough stopping power to get this big bike slowed down. Up front, you've got your LED lit headdress. Beautiful, beautiful headdress, man. It's really modern, sleek. It just fits the theme of this bike. All right, and then moving over here to the side, you've got your lower driving lights. So on the Darkhorse, there's going to be a black housing. On your limiteds, you're going to have a chrome housing. So it's just further going to match that bike. All right. Moving on up, you've got your door here for ventilation. So on these colder days, like it is this morning, you keep it closed, and you're going to keep your lower leg nice and warm. And then during the hot days, the summer days. So when I was in Daytona, I had those doors open. I had no problems with the heat, even though it was hot. Once you get moving, the airflow is great going through by your leg. I know I talked about that previously, and I was curious about how it would be, but I haven't had any issues personally. But hey, your mileage may vary depending on you. All right, and then obviously we got the hard lower, and you got that beautiful Pursuit stamped on the side right there. I like the font. It's a bold, sharp font. It fits the edges of the bike. It fits the lines of the bike. It's a strong type of a font, and it's spaced out beautifully, man. Oh, don't get me started on that. I'll be there all day just talking about the font. All right, moving around here, you got your headlight. This is a LED headlight, the standard. You get LEDs all around the bike on the Indian motorcycles. So this headlight, actually, it looks like it's black, or it looks like it's dark, but around the headlight is the same as all the other headlights, is a chrome back. The only thing that makes it look dark is this black bar that runs across the middle of the light, and then in combination with it being recessed in the fairing, it gives it a real dark look to it, which when I did my 13,000 mile review of my Challenger, I was saying it'd be great if they came that way, and lo and behold, the 2023s already come that way. So awesome. That's fantastic. Of course, you get your Indian badging right up front here. All right. Moving around. Oh, so also down here is where the battery is located. The battery is located in the front of the bike. I don't consider it to be tricky to access. I mean, you're gonna have to do some things, right, to make it easy. So as it sits right now, I would take off the screw that's on the other side, turn the wheels, take off this screw, and then it comes out. So it's easily accessible, even though it's in like in the front of the bike, but you're not having to dig down into the middle of the bike in order to get to it. So that's pretty convenient. All right, of course I had to add highway pegs. This being a touring bike, you need highway pegs while you're touring. All right, up here you have one of the one of the 7 compartments. This bike has 7 compartments in order to place stuff. So up here you have one of the 7 compartments, and the storage totals to about 35 gallons of storage. You get a nice deep pocket here. So this is my hand. And it's good size. Anyway, but my entire hand fits in this pocket. From front to back. I'm touching the front of the pocket right there. So my entire hand fits in there. So it's got some depth to it. And it's also got this rubber liner in here. So if you happen to have anything in here that, happens to leak or spills or whatever, it's going to be an easy cleanup. You don't have to worry about any of that. And it also has this lining here, this little weatherproof lining. And because it's new, I mean, like this thing, it's a little tough to get open and closed, but I would rather it be a little stiff than not stiff enough. So there you go. And also, my plan for this down the road is to swap this out for the speakers, which we'll get here in a minute. All right, moving on down, and on the Pursuit models, instead of having the peg here like it does on the Challenger, you have a pad. Have I noticed the difference in the feel of the pad versus the peg? No. Aesthetically, though, I think this looks way more premium. When you're walking up on the bike and you're taking a look at it and you see the pad instead of the peg. All right. And as you know, or may not know, you got your floorboards here. These Indian motorcycle floorboards are long, and I love it. You have room to move your feet around. If you're doing something, you're going around traffic and you want to get a bit more sporty feel, you can put your feet back here to give it almost like a mid-control. Not really. It's a little, but it gives you a little bit more surface area to push off of. I mean, because the seat is so far back. If it was mid-controls, it'd be like here somewhere. But it does give you a bit more feel if you want to push on the bike a little bit more as you choke up on the seat when you're passing cars or going up against some other motorcycles. But we won't get into that. Of course, we still got the Power Plus 108. This motor is amazing. I mean, it looks good and it functions good. When you're sitting at a stoplight, it's not trying to kill you. And then when you're going down the road, assuming you're not changing anything else, the bike really, really, really runs smooth. And you guys know how I feel about Indian Motorcycle and the way that they spring their bikes. But I'll also get into that here in a minute. Moving on back, you have your passenger floorboards, which is, I mean, that's just fantastic in itself. I'm glad they added floorboards. You don't have a peg. Again, you're adding to that premium feel of the bike. And those do have a high, mid, and low position. It's not quick release or anything. You're going to have a tool and get down there and get it out. But, 9 times out of 10, once you change those, you're not changing them that often. So it'd be no point in doing quick release. All right. So before we go back any further, let me get back up here. Are going to have your trickle charger up here. You can also plug in your heated gear up here as well. So, you're not having to look for pigtails or anything like that. You got it all right here, nice and convenient for you. Up here, you got one of the storage areas. This one has the USB port in it that you can plug in your phone for Apple CarPlay. And, your music and everything else. Down here is your lock and unlock your saddlebags. And you also have your fuel door. So if you press that, you hear the click. And you just push this button and your fuel door pops up. And then you can fuel. You don't have to put your fuel cap somewhere else and forget it or, spill fuel everywhere. It's nice and convenient. It's right here. Put it on there. Go like that. Once you start the bike up, it will lock again because right now it's still unlocked. But once you start the bike up, it will go back into the lock function. You'll hear it click. So don't trip out. It's just your fuel door locking back up. All right. And I did have some people say some things about these little pins here, that their doors were coming open and whatnot. I have not had that experience over the 16,000 miles or so that I had on my Indian Challenger, and it still works good here on this one, even though it's only been a couple hundred miles. But again, if something does happen with that, I'll keep you guys up to speed on it. So this Indian script, I like this. I think, I mean, even over the headdress right there, I like this script. If you can't tell, I'm into fonts, but I like this script. I even would like it if this eye was just a large eye right here on the tank. I think that would look good as well. It's something that you can instantly recognize. You can easily see it. You don't have to read anything. It's just a shape. But with it being the entire script, I have no problems with that. But like I said, the eye right there. So I can probably see why they didn't put it up there, because, you have it down here on the engine. So, understandable. But anyway, all right. Moving on back. Of course, it's the Darkhorse, so we have the black exhaust. Now, this bike, it sounds good. Don't get me wrong. It sounds good if you're into stock exhaust. If you're into it, then this has good sound. All right. Most people are not into stock exhaust. Because you can hear it. I mean, you can hear it, but you can't hear it when you're on the bike. But people around you, behind you, whatever, as long as they don't have exhaust, you can hear it pretty good. And of course, in the dealerships, it's gonna sound awesome, because it's a deeper sound, not necessarily a loud sound. And I'm sure there's rules and regulations behind what you can and can't do with the factory exhaust. But they're trying to appeal to the masses, and this is a safe way. And it's not just Indian motorcycle. That's any motorcycle, any car, any of those things, right? But I am not one of those people, like I said. So I already have some exhaust on the way. Big shout out to Tab Performance. I've got the 4.5 inch exhaust coming from Tab Performance, and that'll be here next week, and I'll go through all the process. The bike comes standard with the saddlebag guards, again, premium. And then here you got your saddlebags. It's the same on either side. It's nice and deep. You got lots of room in there. I've never run into a situation on my Challenger where I didn't have enough room in my saddlebag. Even if I had to stuff some stuff down in there, clothes and whatnot, but everything usually fit. So the only difference between this saddlebag and the saddlebag on the clutch side is this right down in there. There is a 12-volt plug or outlet, however you want to say it. There's a 12-volt outlet in this side, so if you need to charge something while you're going down the road, you can do so. And I want to say that this locking mechanism has been changed, because like when you press on it, it would click to say that it's on there, and then you have to press it again. But this doesn't have that anymore. It's just the one click. So, changes for 2023, huh? All right. I'm with it. So, of course, on the back, I've got I got saddlebag lights, because the more light you have with you stopping, the better. I got those from Custom Dynamics. They were installed on my Challenger. It was the same process, nothing different there. So if you're curious about that, you can check that out. Of course, back here, you've got your bullet style LED tail lights. Nothing changed here. That's still the same as previous models. Also, you got the tour pack. Nothing has changed here. That's all the same from the previous years. and the Roadmaster. So now I know a lot of people were saying that they thought that the tour pack for the Pursuit would have been a little bit different to make it stand out a little bit more. But looking at the bike, in my opinion, it does not feel out of place. Of course, if given the option, I would want something specifically for this. Okay, great. But it doesn't look out of place. The lines still match up with the lines of the bike. And, you know, yeah, to me, it looks okay. I'm good with it. Especially the antenna back here. So it's not where the other antenna would be, which would stop at about right here. So it's not like you're gonna bend over and poke yourself in the face with it. I mean, I don't know that you would really bend over and poke yourself in the face with the other one, but everybody called it the eye poker. But you've got your antenna up here. It's nice. It's not short. It's not short. It's not long. It's a good length. It's out of the way. I mean, I may end up keeping it there, but I do have a little shorty that's right here because I mean I don't listen to the radio anyway, or if I do listen to the radio, it's XM radio through my phone. But you know, personally, if I was wanting it, what I wanted, I would put a XM radio antenna right here. Just have a little shark fin sticking up there. I've had other people suggest to put it in the fairing. You know, I don't know, man, but I still think it's okay. It's not a bad look. It's not out of place. You got this bar here, so I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like a bumper, but for me anyway, it's like a handle to take the tour pack off. You can lift up on it. So that's convenient. You also got a rack up here for extra storage. And then for the tour pack, when you open it up, you got more than enough space in here for helmets, shoes, groceries, tools, you know, whatever it is that you feel that you need to put in there. More than enough room. There is a lining in here. However, I probably would go for a lining that matches the seats with the diamond stitch. I know there's a few companies out there that do it, but you also have this Indian logo, the Indian motorcycle logo, stamped in the front up there. Nice little detail. Also, there is a LED light in here, so at nighttime when you're lifting this up, you know, you can see the contents of it. However, when it's all the way up like that, not really providing that much light. However, if you're just reaching in to grab something and you have it right here, you're definitely getting all that light. You can see the shine in my helmet right there. You're getting all that light, and that little bitty light is pumping out a lot. You also have another 12 volt here, so you got two 12 volt receptacles on this bike. Just in case you need to charge more equipment, as most vloggers and YouTubers do. Them GoPro batteries, man, they don't hold a charge, I tell you. All right, so you just get it, push that down, give it a click. And then coming around the bend here. So obviously this is the other side of the saddlebag. There is no 12 volt on this side, it's just straight up. You know what? Let me make sure, because last time I was looking for the 12 volt and I couldn't find it. And people were telling me in the comments, but nope, there's nothing in there. So we're good. So while we're over here, let's talk about the sound system, right? Because there's speakers in the tour pack. So from the factory, the Indian Pursuit and the Indian Pursuit Premium, they both come with the 200 watt power band audio. So my Challenger had 6.5s up here. However, the Pursuit has 5 1/4s here and 5 1/4s here. And when Slider got his bike, we had him side by side. We turned the music on, same level. Obviously, this has more speakers, so the Pursuit was louder. However, the tour pack adds a little bit more bass. Like you just get like a little hint of the bass in that tour pack. Just fills out the sound a little bit more. So it's pretty interesting that, well, I mean, I guess it's not that interesting. That's just, you know, the nature of a speaker being in a box. But but having the small speakers over the larger speakers, I thought was, you know, weird. But when you hear it, it still sounds good. And like I said, I'm going to be adding those lower speakers in the front up there. Um, and I could add the lid tops, but you know, I don't know. So we'll see. But anyways, oh well, let me take that back. So if I do add both of those, instead of being a 200-watt system, it's a 400-watt system. And I've heard all the 400 watts. Sounds good, man. It's loud for sure. But you know, I guess we'll see what happens. I don't think I'm gonna do those though. Anyway, so at the front of the tour pack, you still have more diamond stitch leather up here. You also have a pad back here in the back, um, and that matches the seat and everything. Everything looks nice. So um, here you also have your buttons, your controls for the heated seats. You get a heated seats for the passenger and the driver, or the driver. Whoever's operating the bike, you get a heated seat. Whoever's riding on the bike, you get a heated seat. All right. Those buttons are nice and big. You can push them with your gloves on. No problem finding them, that kind of thing. So I can't remember if the other colors had the same exact seat, but there's this gray piping that goes all around the seat. The stitching is gray all around both the backrest and the seat, and it matches this stealth gray just beautifully. You know, if it was black, it would still look fine. I'm gonna have to go look at some of my other videos, man, just to make sure that see if that is the same. But the fact that this matches the bike, look at that. The fact that matches the bike, man, I'm already at a 10. This is the best color for this bike. Okay, and before we get too far, the tour pack is quick release. However, there is a security pins in it currently, so I can't take it off without disassembling the bike, which is a great safety feature. But it does come from the factory as a quick release tour pack, so good on them for that. All right, so moving on around, and then of course you got your other cubby here on this side. Down here you've got your controls for your heated grips. So you know you got up, down, and I'm not sure what the center button does. Maybe that just turns it off. I'll have to test that out when I'm riding. And of course you have another pocket back here, and this pocket, man, super deep. Well, it's slightly deeper than the ones that are down here on the lowers. But when I was putting in these handlebars, which I'll get to here in a second, I found something interesting in here. And I don't know. Oh, crap. All right. I don't know if this was in the other one, but if I can get into the sunlight here. If you look down inside of this little rubber housing, there is the Indian motorcycle logo. And then also back there, there's a guy riding on an Indian motorcycle. That is awesome, man. There's little things hidden all around these bikes, man. It's really cool trying to find those. I don't I'm sure there's no prize for finding them. But I don't know that I've seen anybody else identify that. You might be getting first-hand information right here on Finesse the Challenger channel. All right, let me get less excited about that. All right. Up above that, you've got the button for the fog light, or excuse me, the driving lights. I gotta get my terminology right. So this is the button for the driving lights. If you do not have the driving lights, then there's going to be a little plug here with the Indian motorcycle logo sitting on top of it. So you know, it doesn't look like it's just a blank button. They actually put a design on it to give you, you know, makes it look like it's supposed to be there. Um, so that's really good that they just don't leave you out to dry. All right, so these handlebars, like I said, these are the Indian motorcycle low rise handlebars. Um, I had on my Indian Challenger the mid rise, which when I went to full lock, they were a bit tall for me. It was fine riding down the road, you know, doing normal operations. But once you got into slow speed maneuvering and those sorts of things, I found them to be a little bit tall, a little bit uncomfortable. So this time I decided to go with the low rise bars. Again, I'm like 5'9". I think I got a wingspan of like a 6 foot person. um, and uh, yeah, that this position is good for me. The stock position is a bit low in my opinion. Um, yeah, I just it was getting me in my gut. Now, if that's a me problem and I need to remove my gut, then that's something different. But like I said, I found them to be a bit low. So really easy to put these on. Nothing too strenuous. Um, but up here, you still have your standard controls. You have your power, your stop, your run. You got cruise control here. You got your window controls here on the left side or the clutch side. You got your horn, high beam, low beam, um, hazard signals. You got your page functions for the ride command, and then you've got your music control, as well as if you press and hold it, you get your voice control. On the back of each side of the controls here, you got this little toggle button, and that also takes you through some of the pages and things there. All right, now the ride command. Here, let me get on this thing. All right, the ride command. We'll go ahead and give her a start up here. Still get that beautiful graphic, the Indian smoke show, if you will. All right, you get your warning here, fail to pay attention, blah, blah. All right. If you're really interested in that message, you can pause that at any time and take a look at it. Up here, it tells you your mode. I keep it in sport mode. It's super responsive. And then you get your GPS. So when you go here into settings, you got your shock preload, you got your ride modes, traction control, heat, your heat settings. Oh, it went away. All right. So also, if you don't do that, you can just do that, and it'll pop down as well. Then you get down your vehicle. You can go to your shock preload. I got my weight set in there. Um, so if you want to add a person, you click a button, boom, and whatever weight you put in there is going to stay in there. So it's not like you have to go back and forth, trying to set something up. You could just take them in, take them out, take them in, take them out. All right. Luggage, you can go trunk, which I have the trunk on. And if you press the light luggage, it'll give you like an automatic setting. If you go heavy luggage, it'll give you a setting as well. I don't have the tour pack stuff set, so that's what that is. And then you can go here to edit weights, and then you can obviously fine tune it here. You can do sorts of +1, +2, -1, -2. So once you get to 225, you can put it at 227 just by doing that. So you don't have to go into a whole nother screen. You can actually set it up from here. So interesting stuff. And of course, you've got your navigation. You got your, you have your ride information, and you can change these screens. Navigation, your settings, you have your phone control, and then you also have your music control. Really, really cool system. They did a lot of it provides you with a lot of information, and the positioning of the GPS, or excuse me, the positioning of the ride command is accessible to you. So you're not, stretching out to touch anything. Everything's right there. You can use it with your gloves, and you still get your analog gauges with the small little digital readouts. It's going to tell you what gear you're in, your fuel, and your odometer and those sorts of things. Obviously, you got your speedo and your tack, and this windshield. So this windshield in its upright position is, man, that thing is up. It is like a building in front of you. It blocks just about everything. When we were down in Florida, there's a few bugs and things that found that out the hard way. But that it gives you great protection, and you're not going to have any issues whatsoever with that windshield. However, I may opt in for the tinted flared version. Maybe not so tall. Maybe I'll substitute the flare for the not so tall, just to give me that look. But overall, I think it's a beautiful bike. In my opinion, I still think they should give us the black controls like they do on the Darkhorse Chieftains and Roadmasters. Man, I want to say that's on the Springfields as well. I have to go back and look at some video. But for whatever reason, the Challengers and Pursuits do not get the black handles. I don't know the differentiation between those, why they would do that. I mean, if it's the Darkhorse, make it dark. You know what I'm saying? So I may look into replacing those. Hey guys, first off, I want to send a big shout out to Savannah Motorsports. Those guys last Friday, they put some stuff aside in order to get my bike out, man. I really appreciate it. Bob, the owner, Chris, the salesman, and JR and his whole team, they were really pushing to get this out so that I could get it down to Daytona. So for me, man, I really want to say thank you. I appreciate everything you guys do for me as well, and the other consumers that go to that store. All right, so right now I'm on a quick ride, just giving you guys a look at how the bike looks when it's in motion. And like I said earlier, you know how I feel about the suspension on Indian motorcycles, man. And this bike is no exception. This is a smooth running bike. And I think that's really where it separates itself from the Challenger, because the Challenger, in my opinion, is more of a, let's go, let's get it. And the Pursuit is truly a touring motorcycle. Now, it could be the preload suspension. It could be maybe they redid some of the ratios because of the weight of the bike. It could just be the weight of the bike. I don't know. But I can tell you from the seat of my pants, super smooth, man. Like, there's nothing like it out there. And of course, I had to get some figure eights, some U-turns, and some little circles in there. Those handlebars, the new handlebars, really worked well. I felt very comfortable going around. I wasn't too stretched out, and my arms aren't above my chest. So when I had the mid-rise bars, my hands were higher up, obviously. They were 2 inches higher than what they are now. But I think this is a good height. So let's get back to it. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for my 2023 Indian Pursuit Darkhorse with the premium package. This is our official introduction to Bella. Also, my wife's 2022 Chieftain Icon, her name is Stella. So we call them the twins, Stella and Bella. Stella is the star of the show. Bella is fully dressed for the ball. So it's gonna be a interesting ride here And yes, I did get this color so that I could match Miss Finesse's bike, because everybody was saying her bike looked good and my bike was just that matte black, and there, you know, people just walk by it like they didn't see it. But yeah, I've got a few mods scheduled for this bike, and I'll keep you guys up to date on it. But hey man, ride every day, and most importantly, make sure you're enjoying it. Peace.